your best life. Please welcome Rosalyn Kahn.
This is Rosalyn Kahn from Chow Entertainment, Living Your Best Life. I am so excited and moved to have with us the one, the only Jeff Nott. Jeff, say hello to the audience here.
Hello, audience. How are you today?
Fantastic. We're so glad to have an author of a book called 1 Week, One Thing. Tell me about this book.
Well, this book came about working with business owners, and this idea one time that I wasn't getting my business owners to get the things done they needed done each week. We got too many things on the table. Usually I give them 3 to 4 things to work on, and along with all the other things they have to do, run the business day to day, and guess how much they got done? Lucky if they got, even 1% done on any one of them. So I cut it down to just one thing each week, just work on one thing. And we still had challenges with that. And I, for several years, trying to figure out how to make that work. And of course, what to work on each week. There's always something that they should be doing that they're not doing on overall on their business. So one day I had the idea, well, wait a minute, if we just get one thing, give them a list of things they can work on each week ahead of time, we can schedule that. And also is, where do we find the time? That's the biggest challenge. Oh, I can't get it done. I'm too busy. You have to dedicate 30 minutes a day to working on one thing each week. And we take the one topic, pare it down so I can get something completed each week. So for instance, one of the chapters on marketing isn't everything about marketing. It's just about, okay, setting a budget. And how do I do that? And what's my target audience? Simple stuff. But most people don't take the time to do that. Hence the idea then, you just work on this one thing this 1 week, we have success, and you feel better about yourself because you completed something, or at least got something started that you never started before.
Fantastic. That sounds wonderful. Now tell me some of the great stories in that book. What are some of the great stories that are in that book?
Well, I've got lots of great stories, and which interesting, just a little side note on that. In the process of putting the book together, people just came to me. And all of a sudden I get this story out of somebody. I was at a trade show, and I was talking to a marketer, and he starts talking about how people decide to do marketing. I said, well, wait, I've got to get the story from you. And that story in particular was talking about working with most business owners, and they always go after the latest shiny object. Someone comes in and says, hey, I got this new idea for marketing. Oh, I'll sign me up, with no direction, no idea what they're supposed to be doing or even how much money they have to spend on it. So that was a great story on just focus on, figuring out what you need first before you go buying things.
Right. No, that's beautiful. Was there another story in the book that you're really proud of?
Well, there's one chapter that I built all around the concept of, well, in most businesses, when I start working with businesses, there's usually some fire they got to put out. That's part of the reason they finally say, I need a coach. I'm stuck. I can't figure out what to do. I'm crashing and burning. Well, this one client that he had bought his building about 5 years earlier. Now, that's one of the things I talk about in the chapter, in the book, also a chapter about, buying your own business and buying your own property. But in this case, he was smart and bought that. But the problem is that after 5 years, he was not making as much money as he thought he would be. And he started defaulting on the notes. Mm-hmm. And every couple of months he'd get caught up. And then 3 months later, he's not caught up again. And he keeps getting these letters all the time. Now imagine getting a note from the bank every couple of months saying, we're going to repossess your property. Sad way to run a business. And so in the process of talking to him and figuring out what's going on, I said, when was the last time you raised your prices? Because your prices are about 30 to 40% below everybody else in the industry locally. And he says, 5 years, when I bought the business or bought the building. And I said, well, let's start raising your prices. Now, one of the things most business owners fear is raising prices. I'm going to lose a bunch of customers. Oh, I'm going to lose customers. I said, listen, let's just raise your rate $10 an hour. And we'll go a week and see if anybody even notices. Now, this guy ran a very good business. Everybody will love the guy, right? Well, sure enough, a week later, no problem. So I said, okay, let's do another $10 an hour. And next week when we meet, we'll see how that worked out. Again, nobody said anything. So I said, okay, let's raise it another $10 an hour. And now he was commensurate with most other businesses in the area. Still nobody said anything. And a couple months later, he thanked me. He said, I've been able to pay my bills every month, not only my mortgage, but now I have a few extra dollars to keep the wife happy at home. So
Wow.
that's a great story. And that's part of one of the first chapters to figure out, what do you need to fix first in your business? There's a lot of things people want to work on, but what's the most important thing? Get that out of the way first.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds, get the most important thing done first. We got that done. Let's take a quick break here.
Okay.
Wow, it's a wonderful becoming a published author. And could you go back a phrase and tell me, we got the book, but I want to know, before we got the book, how long was the book in the making for?
Well, it's interesting. First of all, if you told me I was going to be an author years ago, I'd laugh at you, right? But I came away I was at a coach's conference or whatever, and it was a coach speaking and presenting, and she's talking about a book that she had written. And of course, I bought the book. It was a great little book. And I came away with that, and I thought, I'm going to put that in my affirmations, my daily affirmations. And I wrote in my journal, I am an author, in sometime about 2015. And then probably about 2016, I started coming up with the idea of the 1 week, one thing. So I started journaling the idea with the books and what each chapter would be. Because the idea I originally had was 52 weeks to a better business. Work one thing each week, and in 52 weeks, you got a better business, which that's still, the concept is still there, but I like the current title much better. But I started journaling each chapter in there, and I already had whole ideas I could talk about it without writing it all down, just had the concept. But then it sat in my journal for a few years, and I update some of the chapters once in a while, and I didn't figure out how to get it published. Well, then February 19, I bumped into a friend of mine, and we're getting caught up. And I said, what are you up to these days? Well, I just started writing my book, my first book. You did? How are you doing that? Well, I joined his class over at the local university, set up by this Creators Institute. And they said they could help me write a book in a year. I said, wow, in a year, huh? Can I get on that? And she says, well, we already started in January, but come in. So they let me in, and December 19, I got my book published with the help of the author, the editors, and everything else. And it was a great ride. A lot of work, but it was a great ride.
Fantastic. I want to summarize a couple of important points you made. One of the things you said is the importance of affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
I heard this beautiful affirmation today. It was by Tony Robbins, and he said that I can do anything. I can do anything I put my mind to, and just keep saying that each and every day. I can do anything I put my mind to it. I can do everything I put my mind to it. And you had the affirmation of going ahead and saying that you were going to write a book. Mm-hmm. The second thing you went ahead and wrote down is the importance of journaling. Some of the most successful people are people who believe in the process of journaling and writing it down on a piece of paper. The third thing is taking a piece and working on it and putting it down. We can't write a book overnight. We can't change a life overnight, and we got to do it in bits and parts and pieces.
Yes.
And those are some really important things. So now, once you got the book done, tell me about how the kickoff.
Well, I was going to launch it in May of 2020, right? And all the whole flow, the roll of, getting it set up to do it at a couple of bookstores and have some fun with it. And this thing came along. But some kind of bug got everybody sick.
A pandemic, you mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Many people got their books promoted in that year. So you've had 3 years to put that great promotion together yet. Have you got it done yet?
Well, no, I have not. But I've talked to my publisher, and one of the things that I found many of my links in the book, because I put links in there, the links aren't working anymore. And there's a few other things that I wanted to tweak, and not a full rewrite, but I want to make a revised edition. So I'm working with them to do that and relaunch it sometime later this year and have some time of that. But it's spreading around the world.
No, that's really interesting. The important thing is, getting it out there. And we always see the third base 9 weeks out there. Do you know you got this misspelling and that doesn't work and this doesn't work? And there's always the redo and the revisit and so on and so forth. And I got an offer for you when you do the rework. send it to me and I'll go ahead and write a little testimonial there for you so you can have Rosalyn Kahn's testimonial in there for
Very
you.
good. I appreciate that. I
Now
love it.
you've told me some great stories, and I had a similar experience happen to me when other people find your book. Tell us some of those stories.
Oh, so I was at a trade show in Kansas City. It was about a little over a year ago. And so the friend I went to the trade show with, he introduced me to a group he's working with of female business owners. And so I said, can I join in this conversation? It was all females. And he said, no. They'll let us in and have dinner with them. I said, okay, that's nice. So I'm chatting with one of the women there, and somehow she said, I introduced myself. She said, Jeffrey Nott. I said, yeah, I know you. You wrote a book called One Week, One Thing, didn't you? I said, yeah, how'd you know that? She says, because my husband and I have been working through your book for the last 6 months. We love that. So that was a great story. I don't know, nowhere they got the book, and they were actually using it and succeeding in it. And that was a great affirmation of, yes, the book is doing its thing.
That is, I love it. I love it. That is so great. They're so great. Now, was there another story you had of seeing that book somewhere else that showed up?
Well, very interesting thing. So for my birthday last year, I got a copy of my book for my birthday. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Well, my sister had somehow, she went on the Amazon site for some reason, was just checking out my book or how it was doing, and she saw a used copy for sale. And I thought, used copy? How'd she find a used copy? Well, somebody, either at one of the trade shows in the Midwest I was at, or somewhere, a guy had gotten a copy of the book, and then he gave it to his sister. And the reason he gave it to his sister is because his sister was a big philanthropist and did a lot of that through her business. And I have a chapter that's called Give Back. And it's telling the business owner, the reading it, that you should find causes that you should support, that you believe in, because that's the right thing to do. And it's good for business, but it's a right thing to do. And so he gave it to her and highlighted that. And then somehow my sister got it for me. And so Give Back, she gave me back the book. And I thought it was kind of an interesting, what is it? The 360 comes back to you, right?
No, that is beautiful. Giving back is really what it's all about. I talked to you that Tony Robbins has this deal that the biggest thing that you can do in society is not just worrying about me, but how we can give back and help other people with that. So now you've been to various different trade shows and you've shown your book and you've talked to us about some success things. So tell me a little bit about your life. Have you always been in this world of business coaching or things like that? Or how did you end up there?
Well, I was right out of high school, originally being in high school and playing with cars, a guy thing. And I thought, well, I'm going to be a master tech and go into that field. Well, to get into that, my first job out of high school was working for a fellow that was very successful in the service station industry. And then I got the entrepreneurial bug and said, I want to own my own service station. Well, 5 years later, I ended up owning my own service station, and several years later owned a couple of them. And so I was pretty successful in industry, but eventually I got out of that. Someone made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I jumped into selling automotive software programs and using my experience in teaching business owners in that world how to run their business better, marketing and everything else, and sharing the things I learned. And several of my peers in the industry said, well, you should be coaching. You should be helping either do it yourself again or coach other people. So in 2010, I started doing coaching full time and using that methodologies that I was given to by other people led to the development of the book, helping to people focus on that one thing.
Fantastic. Now, when you started your business and you started it taking off, did you have any challenges of being a business owner?
Any business has challenges, whether you're a solopreneur or whether you jump into, like I did in the service station industry. Now, working it in 5 years, I thought I knew everything about running a business, right? Well, I was good with people, I was good with sales, good at what I did, but I was not good as a business owner in some respects, because one month I got $50,000 in the checking account. Woohoo! Next month, I'm negative 20. What happened? I had no clue about numbers. So over the years, I had to go get more education, learn more about that. And even as a coach, a solopreneur, I'm learning, every day how to run my business better. And I have my own coach that helps me to do that because I can't do it on my own. And that's one thing as a business owner, we need to be able to say, okay, I need help.
No, that I think that's a really valuable lesson for our audiences to learn. Doctors have mentors that they go ahead and go. Teachers have mentors, they go. Coaches, anybody out there has that person in the backfield that can do something. One of the other authors I listen to, I do a lot of listening in the morning to different people, and they say, we're all good at some things. I'm very highly, highly creative in the arts and the drawing and the speaking and the writing and photography and everything that takes that sensitive intuition side, but it comes to the facts and the numbers and the computers and things like that, and they're not my friends. I don't do those so well, and that's where we got to hire someone else to help us out in those areas because they can do them where it would take me 20 million hours to go ahead and do those things. So it's hiring out those people to go ahead and help you. And do you have any interesting success stories about that business ownership that you have of people that you've worked with that you've used the practices and good things like that you can share?
Oh, there's plenty of stories. I had one client that, we were talking when she was in the business about 3 years, and she was kind of stuck. And so I talked about how the process would work, and she said, "Well, thank you for the help. I'll get back to you." A year later, she gets back to me saying, "I'm still stuck at the same place. I need help." So they had a good business. She and her husband ran a nice little business, and she was in charge of sales. Problem was she was using the same sales techniques, but not closing any business. And so that was a problem. So we talked about it. And one of the things most business owners think, well, I'll just hire you for 30 days or 90 days to help me get my problems fixed. And I tell people, you've been in business how many years? And you haven't fixed it? It's going to take me more than 30 days to fix the problem. Well, she's a great example of that because 6 months in, she finally said, okay, I've got it now. I've figured out, listen to you enough. I'm going to change my sales presentation because it's not working. Sure enough, she took my advice and her business took off from that point. And she's now hired a couple additional people and very, very successful business. And it's not just entirely me, but she was that one thing that she wasn't doing well, she's doing much better at, and that made a big difference.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, if there was a way that people could get a hold of you and follow you, what would that be?
Well, there's several places. I'm, of course, on LinkedIn. You can find me on Amazon. The book is available on Amazon or Indigo Press, and it's available in ebook or in paperback. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. Where else? Lots of places. You can Google me. I'm easily found because I'm all over the place.
Fantastic. Do you have a special gift you'd like to offer to the audience?
Help others. I think whether it's important to you or not, don't do it out of ego. You do it because it's the right thing to do. And we can help others in a simple thing as just complimenting somebody on what they're wearing, or finding something else to ask about somebody else. Or if you see something and ask, hey, can I give you this piece of advice? And that's just something I've done all my life. Part of it is that it's the right thing to do. And part of it is, I have something that I can share.
No, that is such a beautiful, beautiful gift. And I'm so glad that you were able to help share that with me, because they say that, life isn't just about taking care of yourself, but it's doing for others. And there was, the Tony Robbins piece that he was talking about. It's not just doing your work, it's helping others that really help us. And that's really the beauty of it all. And complimenting people. I want to compliment you on what a great guest you've been, on a wealth of knowledge. I can see by your protocol and what you do that you'd be the person that I'd want to have. My name is Rosalyn Kahn. This is Living Your Best Life. We're on Chow Entertainment, KXLA out of Los Angeles, and KGNT out of Las Vegas. Thank you so much. Gratitude beyond words, and we'll see you next time. at a event that's a fundraiser for our high school, Patrick Henry High, and this gentleman here is Mr. Charles Clay. Charles was the ASB president way back then. Here we are many years later, and Charles is now tell us where you grew up and what you've been doing with your life. I don't want to share your story. Here you go, go ahead.
I grew up here in San Diego, and I moved to Los Angeles to go to college after high school.
Wait, stop. I want to hear your story of how you got to school, because I want people to hear the miracle that you are.
Well, I don't know about the miracle, but I grew up in Southeast San Diego, and I went to Patrick Henry because my dad didn't want me to go to the local high school in Lincoln, just because there were problems and issues with the school and the student body, and he wanted me to have more opportunities by going to Henry. So I was bused to the suburbs, basically, and I was one of 10% or so of the student body that were black students there. And I was junior class president, I was ASB president while I was there, and those both gave me an impetus to reach higher once I left school.
That is awesome. And so you've gone to law school, and when you left college, you said you left high school, and you said when you walked out of high school that day and you really thought what you wanted to do with your life, what was your first inclination of what you wanted to be?
I didn't have a specific idea of a career so much as a lifestyle. And having gone to Patrick Henry and seeing some of the houses in the Del Cerro neighborhood and all the swimming pools that my friends had and all, I wanted that for myself. I wanted to have a nice big house, and I wanted to have a shiny German sedan in the garage, and I wanted to have a swimming pool in the backyard. And so I knew that I needed to have a job that was going to pay for that. I needed to work in an office and wear a suit and tie and all of that. And so I thought I would go into business, because that was the only thing that I knew of that could lead to that kind of a lifestyle. But I ended up going into law, of all things, which also supported that. And I did that for a little over 13 years. I was in private practice for a while. I was a DA for LA County for a while. And then I was appointed to the bench. And now I'm a Superior Court judge for Los Angeles County.
Now, when you think about your life growing up and you see yourself, what would you say to the young people today who are in the shoes that you began, of what the world can offer to them?
I would say dream big and set goals, even if you think that you can't reach them, because I didn't know anybody who was a judge or an attorney, or I didn't know many college graduates. I had a couple of aunts that graduated college and were teachers, but I didn't have any male role models to say to me, you can do this. But I believed in the American dream. That, in fact, my senior quote in the yearbook was, if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, I know I can achieve it. And I think that's true for every kid out there. If you want it badly enough and you're willing to work for it, then it can be yours. So I would just encourage kids to dream big and reach for the stars.
Fantastic. Literally. Now, if someone wanted to follow you, because my phone's going to die soon before it dies, so you want to get in those last words, how could they follow you?
They can't really.
They can't really?
No, I'm
anonymous.
I'm on social media, but it's kind of a Fort Knox thing.
I am just so excited. I knew that when I came here, if there was one person I wanted to see, it was you. I talked to my former classmate, Sandy Rapp, and she said the story that she remembered from the the one that I couldn't attend the reunion was, you sat on the bus and said, someday I'm going to live in one of those houses. And so I said, if I only came and I saw you, that this would be well worth going. And thank you so much for this interview. Gratitude beyond words. Namaste. My name is Rosalyn Kahn. I'm with Chow Entertainment in Las Vegas, also in Los Angeles. And this is just the beginning of many more things to come. Thank you.